Hello students, welcome back to the biology class. We were discussing about the chapter biological classification, and this is the second class of this particular chapter. In this class we will discuss about kingdom Protista. The kingdom Protista consists of all single cell eukaryotic organisms. But the boundaries of this kingdom are not well marked or well defined. What may be a photosynthetic protestant to one biologist may be a plant to another. To simplify the things, we will discuss this particular topic under three headings: plant-like protista, animal-like protista, and fungi-like protista. The plant-like protista, they are the chlorophyllated photosynthetic protista and include chrysophytes and dinoflagellates. Animal-like protista include euglenoids and protozoa, and fungi-like protista include slime molds only. Actually, this particular kingdom forms a bridge between the unicellular organisms and the higher organisms like plants, animals and fungi. Protists, they reproduce both sexually and asexually. And being eukaryotes, these protestant cell body contains a well-defined nucleus and other membrane-bound organelles. Some of them have flagella and some cilia. So, let us first start with the plant-like protista. So, the first group of plant-like protista are chrysophytes. These chrysophytes, they are also, or I can say, chrysophyte includes diatoms and golden algae. This golden algae is also called desmids. So, they are found in fresh water as well as marine environment. They are microscopic and they float passively in water currents and form the phytoplanktons. Most of them are photosynthetic. In diatoms, the cell walls form two thin overlapping shells which fit to one another, like these two walls, which they are very thin and they form overlapping shells. And because of this structure, they are known as soap box structure of cell wall. The walls are embedded with silica. They are embedded with silica. Thus, diatoms have left behind large amount of cell wall deposits in their habitat. And this accumulation over billions of years forms what is known as the diatomaceous earth. Diatomaceous earth. Being gritty, this is used in polishing, filtration of oils and syrups, etc. They are the chief producers of the ocean. The second group is dinoflagellates. They are mostly marine and photosynthetic. They appear green, yellow, red, brown, blue, depending upon the pigment that is present in them. The cell wall has stiff cellulosic plates on the outer surface, and most of them have two flagella, hence the term dinoflagellates. One of the flagella lies longitudinally and the other transversely in a furrow between the wall plates. Very often, the red dinoflagellates, they undergo such rapid multiplication that they make the sea appear red, which is very frequently known as the red tides. And one such dinoflagellate which is responsible for the red tide is Goniolax. Now, toxins released by such large numbers can even kill the marine animals, and many a times these toxins, they get accumulated in the marine organisms, and when terrestrial organisms and humans consume these toxins, it causes neurotoxicity in them and even death. So this was about plant-like protista. The next is the animal-like protista, and euglenoids is one of the very prominent member of this particular group. Majority of euglenoids are freshwater organisms. They are found in mostly the stagnant water. Instead of cell wall, they have a protein-rich layer called pellicle, which makes their body flexible. They have two flagella, a short and a long. You must be knowing that an organism having two flagella which are unequal in size and shape is known as heterocont flagella. So dinoflagellates also had heterocont flagella. The euglenoids also have heterocont flagella. Though they are photosynthetic in presence of sunlight, but when deprived of sunlight, they behave as heterotrophs by predating other small organisms. Now, when photosynthetic, they have the pigments, that is photosynthetic pigment, similar to those of higher plants like the chlorophyll A. Example of euglenoids is simply euglena, you all are familiar with. Next is protozoans. All protozoans are heterotrophs and they live as predators or parasites. They are believed to be the primitive relatives of animals. And there are four major groups of protozoans. The first one being the amoeboid protozoans. Amoeboid protozoans. These organisms live in fresh water, seawater or moist soil. They move and capture different organisms or their prey by putting out pseudopodia. You are familiar with amoeba very well from your junior classes. What do? They have phagocytotic mode of nutrition, which they carry out by protruding the false feet or pseudopodia. Many forms have silica shells on their surface. One such example is ant amoeba, histolytica. It causes amoebic dysentery in humans. So, an example of amoeboid protozoan is ant amoeba histolytica. Next one is flagellated protozoa. The flagellated protozoa includes either the free-living or parasitic protozoa that have flagella. The parasitic forms causes disease such as sleeping sickness. Example, trypanosoma. The third one is ciliated protozoan. So they are aquative, actively moving organisms because of the presence of thousands of cilia all over their body. They have a cavity or gullet that opens to the outside of cell surface. The coordinated movement of the rows of cilia causes the water laden with food to be steered into the gullet. An example, you all are familiar with paramecium. Paramecium. And the last type of protozoan are sporozoan. The sporozoan protozoa includes diverse organisms that have an infectious spore-like stage in their life cycle. And we all are familiar with the malarial parasite, the Plasmodium. You must be knowing that there are 4 varieties or 4 species of Plasmodium that causes disease in humans. Plasmodium vivax, Plasmodium falciparum, Plasmodium ovale and Plasmodium malariae, of which in India Plasmodium vivax is the most common type of Plasmodium that causes malaria. So this is about the protozoa. The next group is slime molds. These slime molds are saprophytic protists. They are saprophytic protists. The body moves along the decaying twigs and leaves, engulfing the organic material. Under suitable conditions, they form an aggregation called the plasmodium. They form aggregates called plasmodium. So this plasmodium is not the one that we saw in the sporozoan protozoan. That was a species, genus. And this plasmodium is the aggregate of the slime mold, which may grow and spread over several feet. And during unfavorable conditions, The plasmodium differentiates and forms the fruiting bodies, bearing spores at their tips. The spores possess true walls. They are extremely resistant and survive for many years even under adverse conditions. The spores are dispersed by the air currents. So in shape, they are structure, they are somewhat similar to that of the fungi.